Right, I wanted to create a video talking about the release of season 7, um, the dev vision, the whole thing with season 7. Let's just say it like that, right? I don't know about you guys, right? I'll say this first and foremost that starting with the dev vision, the hype was real for me. I was very excited. I don't know how many of you guys were for the talks, and they're talking about they showed us and displayed us the win to loss ratio of each team comp. The 2-2-2s, 2-1-3s, 3-1-2s, all of it. Right, that was great. It talked about the state of the game, how we felt, what they saw, and it sounded like they were listening, they were paying attention. Then we got to the patch notes, and it felt like they were halfway listening, but they weren't fully listening, if that makes sense, right? The best way I can explain the whole situation, how it felt, I don't know. If let me know if this resonates with you guys. Honestly, I feel like you're going a roller coaster and you're super hyped. You're climbing on the roller coaster, and then you get to the pinnacle, the highest point before the drop, and then you're like, oh my gosh, it's gonna be so cool, the thrill, the excitement, all of it, right? And then you get the drop, and then you're just like, oh, that was it. That was the whole build up, the whole point, right? Um, and it was just very lackluster. The best word phrase to say, it was very lackluster when we got to the patch notes. From the dev talk to the patch notes, super excited from the dev talk, and then we hit the patch notes and it was super lackluster, right? And the worst part, I would say, is the fact that we have to wait for season 7.5, because I don't know if you guys noticed, but when reading the patch notes and you're reading Johnny's patch notes specifically, he says, or it says, that in season more to come in 7.5. And we also know that there's more changes for the character roster in 7.5 as a whole, right? But the problem is that we have to wait for 7.5. So that's a whole month of waiting from the release of 7.0. And the biggest problem is, I, like many other people, I don't know how many of you guys ever heard of the carrot and the stick method. And I would like to believe that Marvel Rivals devs aren't doing the carrot and stick method, but I definitely don't want it to lead that way and to feel that way at all, because man, season 6 was rough, as we all know. Season 6 was definitely rough, and I, out of that sludge, out of that hellhole, I do not want to go back to that, or to feel that we are just not going anywhere for the most part, right? I don't want the signs of hope and then for it to be just taken away, or because it never existed, right? And that's my biggest fear going to season 7 with these patch notes that we just read and got. Like, yes, there were a couple of good changes for sure. Blade, for the DPS players, the most noticeable, I'll say like this, because besides the most notable ones for DBS, Blade, for Vanguards, Hulk, and for Strategist. Who was the most? Oh, they got a buff as well for Strategist, right? As if she needs a buff, but goodness gracious. Um, yeah, those were the most notable for sure out of all the, in terms of buffs. Now we talk about nerfs. Man, let's get into the nerfs, right? Well, for one, the Vanguards got gutted. If you read the patch notes, a lot of the Vanguards, besides Hulk and Magneto got a buff as well, um, for his projectile speed for his ultimate ability, which is going to really screw up a lot of these C and D mains for sure. Heal check, which is I'm kind of excited. I think that's funny to a degree. I think it's needed too. But that's besides the point. Of the Vanguards, I don't understand as to why the Vanguards got gutted in the way that they did when not the Vanguards, but the Duelist and the Strategist got a slap on the wrist for the most part. And here's where I'm going to get to my point. Um, it's hard to tell what the vision is for from the devs because we know the global nerf fantastic. We all agree on that. That's what was needed. That's what we wanted. But it's hard to tell when you see the patch notes for the vanguards to the strategist and duelist because then it's like, well, you're going or you're stating that you're going to want more neutral play, but then it's this patch, it's the vanguards that got hit the hardest and the most. So then, and the worrisome part is that we can't see season 7.5 yet, and we don't know what's in season 7.5, like all the details that are within it, right? So it's difficult to see as to what the complete vision is for the entirety of the game, the structure of it, the foundation, right? Because we can only speculate until we reach 7.5. And so that makes me think, it makes me and other players think, is this the foundation, right? The where it's going to be the hardest part, and then we're just going to build up off of it. Like, okay, the Vanguards took the hardest hit this patch, and for season 7.5, we're going to hit more or the remainder of the duelist and strategist roster to even it out, or are they just only going to for season 7.5 do another slap on the wrist for duelist and strategist? Because then that's the like that's the scariest part. Is that going to happen? Because with this patch, it seemed like they were halfway listening. So are they going to do the same thing, or not listen at all for 7.5? And that's the worrisome thing. We have to wait and see. And if you're like me, and with the anticipation that we have, it's like, dude, I don't want to wait. Why would I want to wait? Like, hell no, I don't want to wait and see. Uh, what the like? We just came out of season 6, which was an absolute slaughter fest of just from throwers, cheaters, from the abysmal freaking the abysmal discrepancies from the community and not being listened to by a big massive portion of the large content creators of Marvel Rivals. Like, dude, it was so bad, and like we barely got a emergency patch fix. Like, because of for most of us, of a certain content creator, right? Rio. Um, it's like, but then you see the rest of them and they just tag along. I'm not gonna go into that, but they tag along and like, oh my gosh, the game's changing, and it's like, now you speak up, now you talk about it, right? But I'm gonna save that conversation and my discontent with that for another video, I think, for sure. But the point I'm trying to get to is that it's very difficult to see where the entire vision of season 7 is from the devs because we are only limited. We have a limited perspective, limited view of what is going on with the game, what's going to happen with the game, and that's where I think the biggest fear from me, others, the player base as a whole, is going to arrive at, right? And so the anticipation and expectations are ever so high. It's super difficult to figure out what's going to happen. Honestly, I will say another thing on the plus side for this season 7 reveal. Obviously, the new character White Fox. Super happy as a strategist main. I think we indefinitely need it. I'm hyped for her gameplay and what she is for a strategist because having a melee or brawler type strategist is super nice, right? I'm gonna love that, right? To be another uh, strategist that can effectively fight back with a fighting or brawling play style. Super good, right? Um, but I will say though, man, I'm at a loss for words. I forgot what my attraction was. But yeah, it's just difficult to see what we're going for, right? But oh yes, the three bands. I'm definitely excited for the three band phase for ranked play. I'm super excited for that. I think that's gonna be super good. We needed that. Um, Definitely needed, especially with the roster of characters that we have. This enables a lot more freedom and makes the game more fun for ranked and as a whole, and forces the player base to be more experimental with their play style, and learning and being proficient with different characters, different strategies, and stuff like that. But yeah, man, I don't know. How do you guys feel about the reveal of season seven? And I definitely feel like it was lackluster and interesting to say none the least, you know. But yeah, how do you guys feel about season seven? Leave a comment. How you guys felt about the character trailer, the patch notes? What do you guys have speculations in terms of the vision for the devs? Are you excited? Are you know the anticipation? And I'm looking at this video right now, and like I was sitting back there on low hell. If that Deadpool just turned around and shot me one time, I would have been dead. And he was so hyper focused. He was tunnel visioned. That's crazy as hell. But yeah, let me know how you guys felt about it. What are you guys' expectations? What you guys want from the devs, the community, the game itself, right? Where you guys think it's gonna go? How it's gonna go? Yeah. But other than that, I'll see you guys in the next video. Sergeant Doomer out. Deuces.